Greetings, welcome back to Black Bear News, where we're discussing climate change, abrupt climate change, and things adjacent. And wanted to bring you this article story from Australia. This is from a few days ago, February 12th. Hitting the gas industry, emissions set to overtake electricity sector. Emissions from Australian industry are increasing rapidly, led by gas production, placing the sector in conflict with long-term commitments by the country to decarbonize the economy. Reputex, a carbon market consultancy, said data for Australia's 260 largest emitting companies showed carbon pollution levels were now 60% above 2005 levels, with those from oil and gas up 621%. Yikes. By contrast, emissions from electricity generators were down about 9% from 2005. The power sector, which accounts for about a third of national emissions, is on course to be overtaken by industry as the biggest carbon pollution source as soon as 2023-24. Hugh Grossman, Reputex's managing director, said a revision to the so-called safeguard mechanism introduced in July 2016 by the Turnbull government, with the potential to force firms to cut emissions over time, now allowed companies to shift the goalposts at will. As of last year, a company's baseline for emissions is set based on forecast production and emissions intensity, and these can be changed annually by the company. The safeguard mechanism, in theory, had the power to readjust those baselines, Mr. Grossman said. The change removed any constraint. The mechanism covers 450 facilities ranging from mining and manufacturing to transport and waste. The companies owning those plants account for 60% of Australia's emissions. While we have seen record levels of investment in renewable energy technology in the electricity sector, the industrial sector has been largely missing from the national emissions reduction challenge. As we enter the first year of the Paris Agreement compliance period, large-scale emissions growth from industry is eroding gains elsewhere in the economy, which is in conflict with our long-term decarbonization goal, he said. The Energy and Emissions Reduction Minister, Angus Taylor, did not respond to questions before deadline. The Sydney Morning Herald and The Age reported this week that the Morrison government was weighing up whether to join more than 80 nations to have committed to zero emissions by 2050, meaning they were deciding whether deciding whether to join. Okay. So I don't know about this. The next climate summit, due to be held in Glasgow, Scotland, in November, will put pressure on participants to raise their Paris commitments. Australia's current pledge is to cut 2005 emissions levels 26 to 28% by 2030. All right. Although the Morrison government has signaled it plans to use so-called carryover credits. Oh, the old carryover credits from the present climate deal that could have the abatement effort. Okay. The old carbon credits kicking in and helping nature. Actually just helping people with numbers on paper, right? Oh, but we carry these carbon credits over from these years over here, or this line over here in our accounting, and therefore, if we only do 13% or 14%, we'll just put those credits on there, and they'll be like 26% or 30%, and all that'll make sense there to you, on paper. Okay. Percent change in safeguard emissions from 2005 levels. Wow. Wowzers. LNG, or natural gas, seems to be way up. Way up, but they all seem to be going up. Everybody but the electricity generating sector. Australia's emissions, 1990 to 2030. they seem to be plateauing or even maybe going down a little bit. Maybe so that's good. Increases in share of renewable energy would like to see emissions from the electricity sector decline 34% from 2005 levels by 2030. That is a very conservative decline in energy or carbon emissions. But, you know, considering that emissions mainly are going up every year, you know, we haven't really seen much in the decline area. Globally, although they are saying the electricity sector is actually going down. So I guess that's a tiny bit of good news amongst all this really bad news. Super bad news. This much good news about here. Yeah, pretty much canceling out the good news. So yeah, there you go. Just wanted to bring you that. Australia doing its part, as in not at all. Thank you so much for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. If you would like to support this channel, you can do so at the links below. Until next time, peace.